Time for that weekly pickup haul. Now this is a quiet week for me. It is indeed. So let's get into this one. Okay, hello everyone, welcome back to my weekly pickup haul, where I take a look at those items that I've picked up over the course of the week, whether it be deliveries from a shop, from whatever it may be. And like I said, yeah, that little pile, that's a quiet week for me. But there we go, which is not a bad thing actually. But yeah, so let's start. So my first pickup for this week, and not necessarily for me, this was actually for the wife, because she wanted it, and it is the 4K release of Avatar. When we're going to watch it, I don't know. Why, I don't know. She likes these films, and the prettier they look, the better they are for her. Although I'm not too keen on these releases, because there's a slightly longer version of the film. Now, I'm not familiar with the film. I have seen the film, obviously I have, but I'm not familiar in the film that if you put a version on, I wouldn't be able to tell you if it was the theatrical cut, it was the middle cut, or whether it was the super duper extra longer cut, which is about 7 minutes or something longer than this. Because I'm not that, my familiarity isn't that great with this movie. It's not a film that I ever really wish to revisit. It's not a film that I particularly like. I mean, it looked great and it done fantastic with its 3D at the time and all that. I can't knock any of that aspect of it. The story just wasn't original, and that's my main issue with this film. That there's stronger films that I'd much rather put on than this if I have to watch this story. Dances with Wolves, I'm looking at you. Yeah, so Avatar. Next up, and I picked this up at sale price because it came out a while ago, and like I have said that I want to try and do is leave some stuff until the price drops, and this dropped to $7.99, and thusly I purchased it, and that was for Justice League and Ruby, Superheroes and Huntsmen Part 1, which is an animated DC Universe movie that mixes with the world of, has a crossover with the world of Ruby, RWBY, which is an anime series that I knew nothing about when I watched this film. Lastly, when I watched this film, I struggled with it because I had no knowledge of Ruby. But what I did like was the animation style. Not the animation style putting the DC characters in this animation style, but the animation style for Ruby itself. And this get my words all muddled then. And this thusly led me to pick up the first 5 seasons of Ruby considerably cheap off of out of CEX and places like that. So I finally picked that up because the price dropped. And it's got a nice spot glossing on the cover with the characters. Yeah, matte at the back and spot glossing on the characters. Obviously it's the thin boxes now. Next one, and I reviewed this yesterday morning. I put a review up for it because I did watch it, and it was for Raise the Titanic, a film that I hadn't seen in a long time, since back in the day it was on TV when I was a lad. And obviously the interest around Titanic has sort of been reignited with the accident that occurred with that little submersible that went down and imploded, and those 5 lives lost. And yes, I bought this on the back of that. It made me want to sort of revisit the story, and it's a timeless tragic story, isn't it, and one that we'll gravitate towards and have a certain interest in. And you know, this film was actually made 5 years before the Titanic was actually found. And there's some great model work in this movie. There truly is. $3 million to build. Paid to build the model for this here, for the Titanic. And when it raises up out of the ocean, it looks spectacular. I do miss model work in movies. I really do. I have a love for it more so than CGI. I think model work always holds up a lot stronger, and in here it certainly does. Yeah, So next up, one that I picked up in... No, actually, I'm going to go to this one, because it kind of thematically it works to go from that to this. Ghost Ship. Another derelict vessel, a tragedy that's occurred at sea. Yeah, the horror movie Ghost Ship. And I did watch this the other night. I did give it a view. And it's quite fun. It's a fun, decent film, you know. Young Carl Urban stars in it. Gabriel Byrne stars in it. It's, yeah, about a ghost ship, you know. It's kind of, title says it speaks for itself. But it was fun. It was a fun movie. Obviously, this was imported from, I don't know, actually. Is it Spain or somewhere? I don't know. I had to import it from somewhere. There we go. So, next up is Steve Martin in Sergeant Bilco. Now, when I went up to London with Matt and Chris a couple of weeks ago, you may have seen the video. If not, go back and check it out. We had a great time. I knew online that it said that this was in stock in one of the CEXs. It wasn't. I couldn't find it. Lo and behold, I couldn't find it. So I had to order it online when I couldn't find it in CEX. And I wanted to give it a revisit because I've not seen it since the day it come out. And I am a big fan of the Phil Silvers show that this is the film of. I've got it somewhere. And I can't see it. It was down there. I pulled it out. I pulled it out the other day to sort of show it when I've done the opening for this, that here's the Phil Silvers show. That's bugging me now. Okay, so I've had a look for it and it's sort of vanished. It's not in its spot. So it's somewhere else in this room, in amongst all the films that I have. I don't know where I would have put it, but there we go. So yeah, so the Phil Silvers show, a big fan of it, and this is Steve Martin's Sergeant Bilco movie. And I remember at the time it got a lambasting, it got criticised heavily, it wasn't particularly good, but I fancied giving it a rewatch. I fancied revisiting it and picking it up for the collection. Thusly I have. Then we have a DVD here that, because I couldn't find my copy of it, and whether it eventually turns up in a box in the attic, I don't know, but it's for the movie Razor Blade Smile, which is a 18 rated manga DVD, a vampire movie. Masses of sex, nudity and violence. Total Film said that. Part seductress, part assassin, part vampire. I wouldn't recommend the film. I certainly wouldn't. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea whatsoever. It's a very, very cheap production of a movie. And I picked it up very cheap. Very, very cheap. And it still has the... it still has inside the poster. Which come with it. What's that? Yeah, Razor Blade Smile. Has anyone seen that? I'll be surprised if many people have actually seen it. But there we go. And this next up is a gift. It was gifted to me by Bal, long-time commenter on the channel, long-time supporter of the channel. And it is Showdown in Little Tokyo. And if you want to know what I thought of it, because it was a first-time watch, then my review, again, was just a couple of days ago, as you're watching this. So go back and check it out. Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee in this 1991 action, tongue-in-cheek. Should it be a comedy? Would it be classed as part comedy? Probably, I suppose. I don't know. It's not serious. Don't take it seriously. It was all right. It was fun. It was a fun movie. And then, last but certainly not least, is my bootleg. Now, the only bootleg of the week that I've got, and that is for Extraction 2. Again, I have watched this. I watched the copy of it. I watched the disc. And it's a great film. It's really good. And it goes with my bootleg of Extraction 1 as well. So I got both of them, because they're films that haven't had a physical media release whatsoever. So yes, and obviously it's got all the subtitles in the foreign speaking parts and that sort of a thing there. Fantastic. Yeah, Extraction 2. Well, no, Extraction 1 wasn't now, that was way back. Extraction 2 is this week. Yeah, decent film. Chris Hemsworth. Hopefully they'll do a third. It has some fantastic, what I say, camera work, in that it makes these action scenes look like they're done in one take. And I mean big action scenes. In the first one, I remember there was a scene where the camera was outside of a car during this car chase, following it, and then it ended up in the car with them in the process of movement and all this sort of a thing. And I mean, if you look carefully, like I look at it and I'm watching it on Missus and I go, okay, probable cut there, probable cut. Do you know what I mean? You can see where these things are going to be. But very, very well done. Really enjoyable film and a great franchise for Chris Hemsworth. There was talk of him stepping away from film, wasn't there, because of medical issues or something. But you hear this stuff, but they still seem to be knocking him out, don't they? Yeah. Anyway, so that was it for the week. That was the pickups for the week. Nothing more, nothing less. Other than Avatar, no major big release coming out. Now, next week should have Jaws 2 in store for me. But, however, I've heard murmurings that Zavvi are having issues with dispatching stuff. Have you heard this? Have you been subjected to this going on with Zavvi? Let me know in the comments down below. I've only heard murmurings. Yeah, which is unfortunate, because I have messaged them, because they've also got to dispatch me a collectible, a rather large collectible that I've ordered. God knows where it's going to go. When I say large, I mean the box is going to be out here for it. Probably about that wide, but it's going to be like that. I might do an opening for that when I get it. Actually, yeah, I probably will. But anyway, this is me just rambling on. So, yeah, hit the subscribe button. Why not? Obviously, come and join the channel. Let me know what you've picked up in the week. And yeah, and also, like I said, always say, if you want to know a good place to sort of source this stuff from, then just drop me a private message on Facebook or Instagram, and I can point you in the direction to go. This is AJ. Thanks again for watching, and I shall see you all later. Take care all, and goodbye.